Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Hope TV, where we feature stories from diverse individuals from different walks of life and how they step up to various challenges. This episode is brought to you by JCI Cebu and Gestalt Wellness Institute. I'm still your host, Deji Montermoso, and still with us tonight is our resident mental health expert, Brother Philip Chentang. Good evening, brother. And our very special guest, who will be introduced in a little while. Ay, sa Shigdanawa. According to a study conducted by Martinez Andrea B. al., mental illness is the third most common disability in the country. Around 6 million Filipinos are estimated to live with depression and or anxiety, making the Philippines the country with the third highest rate of mental health problems in the Western Pacific region. Tonight, we welcome a mental health advocate's personal story on how she braved her mental health illness. Here is Miss M. Julie Luna. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And thank you also for gracing us with your presence. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
And how are you, brother?
Okay, bro. Thank you.
We're all okay this evening. Now, can you tell us about yourself first? Tell the audience about yourself.
Yes, so hi, I'm currently a medical student. I have been practicing my psychology degree a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually a part of a mental health institution, and I have been living a great dream and experiencing the greatness of having to help people.
Mm-hmm. Great. So you're a psychology student?
Before.
Before?
Yes,
Alright.
before.
Right now?
I'm studying medicine, but I have a license in psychometrician.
Oh, alright. Becoming you, brother.
Yeah. But different path niya, bro.
Different path, alright. How were you able to cope with your everyday activities?
As of now, especially in med school,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit tough,
Mm-hmm.
and all you really have to find is the balance with rest and when you hustle
Yes.
with your studies. So it's when I was in first year, it was a bit hard adjusting, but now in second year, I guess I can have a full grasp on how to adjust.
Okay na siya.
Slide.
Slide. For the audience, no, this would be the med school.
You should joke. You should joke.
From 1 to 10.
11. It's an 11.
Oh, so guaranteed nga, med school is really not a paradise.
It's not.
It's really a paradise. No? So if you want, if you wish to go to med school, think twice.
Think thrice.
Think twice with your experience as a med school student. Now, have you ever sought help from mental health professionals like psychiatrists and psychologists, given that you experience mental health illness?
Yes, actually, my first experience with a psychiatrist was actually around 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
Yes, I was in 2020.
2020 era.
And with my psychologist around that time, around 2020.
Oh, alright, around 20, so 2 years back.
Mm-mm.
Now, tell us more about your history in using mental health services.
Ano, siguro the first time, it was scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because being vulnerable is a bit tough,
Mm-hmm.
especially to a stranger. And you just have to fight that feeling of building your walls.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you have to start to trust your psychiatrist or your therapist, and you move to a good relationship in order to have a good session, a good parang like it's an interrole play ba,
Mm-hmm.
na you get to open to them and they
Yes,
get to
yes.
help you more
Mhm.
efficiently.
Brother, usually ba mga first timers when they ask for assistance from psychologist or psychiatrist, is it really hard for them based on your assessment?
Let's see. Usually I find lisod jud o open up because I got new clients, no? And I don't blame them. No? I am a
Yes,
stranger, although I assure confidentiality and they can trust me. No? It's different when you experience it. No? I'm not the one opening my life story.
Yes.
They are, so I don't blame. Although there are a few that, for some reason, they're quite casual, no? And then they just open up as if I were their sa chika mate or best friend, no? But it's the exception, not the norm. So yes, it is hard for most.
Yes, especially natawag nila ba stranger yun.
Yeah.
But a licensed stranger.
Yes.
Now, have you ever been diagnosed with a mental disorder? Can you tell us what is it like?
Yes, I have been diagnosed. I have been officially again diagnosed for 2 years. What is it like? It's hard, to be honest. Kaya parang you don't know which life to live. Like you wanna live a normal life, but at some degree you know you can't.
Yes.
Like there's a constant hurdle in your mind that you want to do better. You want to be a normie, for example, pero there's just things that other people don't understand when you're living with mental illness. Na sometimes small things for them are big things for us. Like they don't understand that sometimes there's this difference lang na it may be normal for you, but that might be a trigger to us. So sometimes it's a bit hard to let people understand, but with the right circle of friends, with the right trust in your family, it will slowly be washed away. Ang ganun siya ng difference.
No, brother, I don't know what's the specific term, no? Are there any signs or symptoms that you consider that you suffer already from mental illness?
Yeah, no, there are, no? But what actually interests me more, because it's really different when you look at it from a clinical perspective and if you look at it in a lived perspective, no? And I think people would be interested as well as I experience this ni M. No? So, can you tell us about perhaps what you may have been diagnosed with, and just perhaps educate the audience?
So first, my diagnosis was bipolar 1, and I have been medicated for bipolar 1 for a year. And just recently, when I was talking with my psychiatrist, we did a thorough parang history taking. And then after the history taking, it was concluded that I didn't have bipolar 1 at all, but rather it was borderline personality disorder. So that's what I'm going through right now, and with the help of Chan and my therapist, I've been doing my best to overcome whatever life has to throw at me.
Alright. I can say that it's really hard as I am listening to your experiences. I cannot imagine. I really can't imagine. And how did you cope and maybe triumph over your mental health condition?
To be honest, coping is hard, especially for me. We all know we both have unhealthy and healthy coping mechanisms.
Yes.
And what I've been trying to do for the past few years and months is to develop more healthy coping mechanisms like journaling, like exercising, trying to channel your emotions to a more meaningful...
It makes you at ease.
Yeah, to a more meaningful parang material. Like I write poetry, I try to read. So that's what I've been doing to cope most recently.
I actually would like to ask a question for the sake of the viewers as well. Curious ko sa imong journey, mental health concerns na journey bitaw, how it started, and because some people would wonder, hey, what is what I'm kani akong gi-experience karon mental illness pa ni siya, or basin na ira ko, or kanusa ako makaingon na I need help, and perhaps if they had a glimpse of your experiences, mas ma-confident bitaw sila. So maybe can you share a bit about your history?
So actually, the first time that akong symptoms. I
Mm.
was actually very young. Started around high school.
Mm.
But I really didn't know that something was wrong with me.
Alright.
I cannot sleep at all.
Mm.
Like, the longest duration for my insomnia would reach me 8 days with no sleep, like no sleep at all. And I was constantly feeling sad, but I know that feeling sad is normal for everyone. It's a normal emotion. But the sadness you feel is very heavy,
Mhm.
and you don't have any reason bitaw or like any trigger to be sad. It's just like you're constantly sad. There's constant feelings of emptiness that you can't explain. And my symptoms progressed to impulsivity. So I was being impulsive with drinking, with smoking, being with other people. And it rolled to money problems.
Alright.
That was the biggest issue for me. I tried, but please don't follow, naman negative ang bank account.
Yeah.
And I cannot recall what I have done to have a negative bank account. And what pushed me to continue or to start my mental health journey was actually because of my friends.
Alright.
Because sometimes when something is wrong with you, you can't really notice it. Sometimes it's the people around you
Mm.
who tells you that,
You're not
hey,
okay.
yeah, no, something is wrong.
Mm.
Like, are you going through something? Do you need help? And when they noticed that I was almost drinking every day, I was only at least sober for 2 days or 3 days a week. I would drink at work, I would drink at home alone.
And for you, it's getting normal.
Yeah, and I thought nothing was really wrong.
Mm.
And then when people started to point it out, and they begged me to ask Nagid for help because they were very concerned. So I started to think, siguro it's not normal anymore because the people around me are telling me that it's time, or
Right.
it's really time to push for help, and that's when I decided to.
How can the public be more sensitive to those with mental disorders? Can you answer that first, brother?
I think this is an important question, bro. Okay. I think what we haven't discussed yet is how at times when someone is labeled mentally ill, na-adjunate ka ng discrimination or stigma, frowned upon siya. And I think this may be due to a lack of awareness,
Correct.
ignorance, and maybe kana bitawng storya-storya na dili sakto ba, na ipasa-pasa bitaw. So, for instance, nung naingon na ako'y bipolar, no kani siya bipolar. Nabuang na di na imong anak. Day, ana. So, these words that we often use casually, and we think sakto siya, apparently na di siya put down bitaw sa mga tao na na-diagnose. No? So, Tagalog pa na baliw. No? So, it's so common, and walay awareness mga tao unsa jud ni siya. Mao na importante kayo na ang public ma-aware jud no sa unsa ning mga mental illness, which actually daghan different kinds of mental illness, no? Mild siya where mag-suffer ang tao light, and ay mga severe po na forms, no? My message to the public para mas sensitive, no? Do your own research. No? The data online is very rich. Don't limit yourself to one website. Look for other websites and learn as much as you can. No? If you have friends that are in the psychology field or in the psychiatry field, pwede ka mangutana. Or pwede ka mangutana sa tao na you feel nag-suffer, no? In distress. That's such a rich source of data. Like what we're doing now. I feel that ang stigma and discrimination mawala jud ni if we're open and curious enough to experience the person in front of us, no? And dili ta mahadlok. Kaya wa may angay kahadlokan. Wa man ni sila COVID and di man ni makatakod. No? So mao lang na, no? Just be sensitive, be curious, be open, and care enough. No? Mao lang na ako.
Okay, care enough. Thank you so much for that, brother. Yes, what about you, Em?
For me, there's one thing I can say is don't judge. Like, everyone has their own story. The least thing you can do is listen. You don't have to listen and tell them what to do. You don't have to listen and push them to like mag-judge na gyud ka. So, what I agree with what Chan said na do your research, read more. If you know a friend who's suffering from something, try to understand. Look for literatures that can actually help you be familiar lang at least with what they're going through, and be open. Don't tiptoe around people with mental illness. Being sensitive is not tiptoeing, because like when you tiptoe, it's like, ay, dili ko ni buhaton kay ma-trigger niya siya. It's not necessary when you know someone who's suffering from mental illness. So again, please don't judge, and always listen.
Yes, we really have to educate ourselves to eradicate the stigma experienced by the people of mental health illness. So you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our episode for tonight. We would like to thank our resident mental health expert, Bro Chen. Thank you so much, and of course, our special guest. I'm really honored hearing your personal story, and for sure our audience also, because it's really not easy.
Yes.
Okay?
Maybe we can look at the people
Yes.
who are in the comment section. Are there any more?
Questions or
Nakaibong?
greetings?
Ah,
No questions so far. Alright.
ah,
Again, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
You're welcome.
Miss M. Julie Luna. Virtual round of applause for Miss M. Thank you. It may seem intuitive to say that a healthy economy makes people happy, but little is said about the converse of this statement. Perhaps we should look into how happy people make an economy healthy. To everyone struggling with their mental health, I hope things get better for you soon. We know it's hard, but please hang in there. Embrace your softness, embrace your vulnerability. Don't let the world harden you. Again, protect your energy, protect your peace at all costs. This episode is brought to you by JCA Cebu and Gestalt Wellness Institute. This is your host, Deji Montermoso, and we'll see you again soon for our next episode. Miss M, would you like to greet someone before we go?
I'd like to say hi to my sister.
Yes, Bro Chen.
No one in particular. Thank you, bro.
Alright. I would like to say hi to my little one and to my partners outside. And to everyone watching us, thank you so much for being with us. This is our 6th episode, and wait, there's more episodes to come. Right? So, hang in there. Be blessed and be a blessing always. Goodbye, and thank you, everyone.